going to carry the word to every man, woman, and child of every color and background that today, on the eve of the new American century, it's time to renew the American promise and to recapture the American dream and to give our nation a new birth of freedom with liberty, equality, and justice for all. That's what it means to be a Republican.
1996 Republican vice presidential candidate Jack Kemp speaking that year at the Republican National Convention, vowing to transcend boundaries of race and class and renew the American dream. Welcome back to Newsmax Prime. You know, Jack Kemp played a pivotal role within the Republican Party. In fact, he may be one of the most important Republicans of the 20th century, certainly the second half of that century, yet no one has written a biography of Jack Kemp until now. For more, we welcome in from Newsmax New York political commentator Morton Kondracke. He is the co-author of Jack Kemp, the bleeding heart conservative who changed America. Jack really had an eclectic mix of friends, and outreach seemed to be his middle name.
Absolutely. And, you know, and he wanted the Republican Party to, I think this was a little fanciful, actually, maybe romantic, but he thought that the Republican Party could again become the party of Lincoln, even in the sense that that African Americans would return after, you know, they hadn't been there in the Republican Party since Franklin Roosevelt. But if the economy grew fast enough and they got jobs, that they would return to the Republican Party. Now, that was not going to happen, but Jack thought it could.
In the here and now, Mort, certainly quite a number of Republican presidential candidates. My old Ways and Means colleague Paul Ryan used to work for Jack Kemp, considered him a mentor. But who do you think Jack would like in the current field of presidential candidates? Who embodies the Kemp legacy, if there is such a candidate?
Well, I think Jeb Bush does. I think John Kasich definitely does. Marco Rubio, to a certain extent, does. I mean, tries to sound like Jack Kemp. You know, I think certainly immigration is a big dividing line. Jack Kemp was in favor of border control, but he also was in favor of a path to citizenship for illegal immigrants with clean records. And he was for outreach to the Hispanic community, et cetera. Now, most of the Republican candidates, and I got to say, the Republican Party in general has completely moved away from that kind of position. Donald Trump being in the lead. I mean,
and we will have to leave it right there. But we will take a look in the days ahead. More importantly, we'll direct people to your new book, Jack Kemp, the bleeding heart conservative who changed America. Morton, thanks for your time. Good to hear from our friend Morton Kondracke, and I really like Jack Kemp, although we did disagree on illegal immigration. Now, time to take a look at what's on your mind via social media. Our first comment coming in from Carrie, who writes about President Obama's reaction after the mass shootings in Oregon. She writes, "Tell President Obama to quit lying about gun laws. He said where the toughest gun laws are is where the least crime is." Well, what about his adopted hometown of Chicago, Illinois? Next comment comes from Patriot, writing in about our visit with Ambassador James Woolsey. Of course, Jim was the former director of Central Intelligence. Here's what Patriot writes. "Jim Woolsey is wonderfully insightful. John Kerry has willingly been a supporter of this administration's terrible Middle East policies, including the Iran agreement. Putin will get nukes to Iran whether we have this shallow agreement or not." And finally, we heard from Jimmy, who writes in about Donald Trump. Here's what he says. "Trump is rough and tumble and says what needs to be said without apology. Republicans, Democrats, and the media hate him because he threatens the establishment. The only thing they have wrong is the American people like him, and we will have our say in 2016. If you would like to have your say with us, here's how you can do it. Send us your comments at newsmaxtv.com/comments. Thanks for being here on this Friday night. I'll look for you Monday. In between, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.